Okay, so we have a prayer at the beginning of each meeting, and it says that everyone here has been guided by Spirit, that there are no accidents who is present, live, or to the recording. We say that there is information and wisdom and information and inspiration here, such that everyone's heart can be touched and everyone's mind can be moved. And we know that there are things moving in your life that you would like help with, clarity with, passion with, answers with, directions with. So it is my absolute deep and whole intention that each person receives something today that you can use in your life that will make your life better and that will assist you to make others' lives better as well. That's what's going to happen. That's what's happening. That's what's done. If you care to say it together with me, and so it is, and so it is. Thank you. I heard a story about a little girl who went to her mom and asked, "Mom, how did people get on the planet?" And she said, "Well, there was Adam and Eve, and they had children, and generations went down and down and down. And so we're all here as a result of God investing Adam and Eve in this adventure." And then she went to her dad, and she said, "Dad, how did we get here?" And he said, "Well, there were a couple of monkeys, and monkeys proliferated, and it evolved over years and years and years, and eventually the monkeys turned into people." And so she went back to her mom. She says, "Mom, you told me that we came from God, and Dad said we came from monkeys. What's the truth?" She said, "Well, I was talking about my side of the family, and he was talking about his." And it's a joke, but there's really actually a point to it, that we have to make a decision about where we come from. And either we are divine or material. Now, of course, we have material aspects, but the question is, what is our true source? And what's happening on the planet today is there's a huge divide of belief systems. It's almost like there are different realities happening simultaneously. And, people are so polarized about politics and race and gender and all kinds of different beliefs about the pandemic. And there's separation, separation, separation. And you might say that all sides can be boiled down to two factors: those who love and those who fear. And what's happening with the pandemic, at least, and the economy and the racial politics, is that you're having to choose whether you want to come from wholeness and faith and connection and vision, or separateness and competition and judgment and fear. And I think a lot of the people who listen to my broadcasts really have made this time work on their behalf, because we're going deeper and deeper and choosing more and more faith and more love. And everybody gets to choose fear, gets to have that experience, but we get to have the experience we choose. Now, I'm speaking generalities now, but how about personally? You have choices before. You have relationship choices, you have economic choices, career choices, living choices. And, most of us tend to toggle back and forth between fear and love. It's not like you wake up one day and you're in love and you keep love for the whole day. That's good if you can do it. But most of us kind of toggle back and forth between choosing fear and choosing love. And while it seems like the issue is pandemic or politics or race or gender, the real issue is the seminar we are in. We are now all in a seminar called Who Am I? And what is my essence, and who do I believe, and who do I come from? Am I just a body that has a color, or am I a spirit that is colorless and ageless and genderless? Am I broken because I don't belong to the in crowd, or I'm against the in crowd? Or am I whole because I am all embracing and everyone I meet is a part of me? My teacher used to say that a mystic meets on a point of agreement, that the people who are true social change agents are those who join at a spiritual level. Even Martin Luther King, he's not against white people. He was for social equality. And he said, you have very little morally persuasive power with someone who feels your underlying contempt. Who? Which means that if you're in a state of hatred or separation or divisiveness or competition, you've cut off your power to heal. It's only through joining and mutual respect and all embracing this that we have power to heal. And so let's just conclude by saying that every choice you make is really a choice between who you are and where you come from. And when you know who you are and where you come from, you know what you're here to do. Any questions about choices in your life can be traced back to, am I a divine being or am I just a body? Am I somebody who lives eternally or am I somebody who's going to die? Well, you're going to die physically, but not spiritually. And so what's happening on the planet now is there's a great overturning, a great transformation, a great crossroads. And people are kind of lining up on one side or the other. Do we belong to love or do we belong to fear? And I think that those who are watching this broadcast have already chosen love. What you're doing here is coming for some edification and validation. That's how I think about it. Okay, well, I hope that's useful to you. Let's go to the coaching. There's the phones. There's no phones, but we'll go to the hands. Call on people who haven't called on, and we'll get to those who I've spoken to already. So let's go to Steve Hofer. Steve, if you would put your video on, we'll have a little chat and see how I can support you in any way I can. Hi, Steve.
Hello. Let me see if I can adjust this a little bit.
You're good. You're good. Thank you, Steve.
Hi. Good to meet you virtually in person, if that makes sense.
Sure.
I'm in your LEAP class, and I'm getting wonderful value out of it.
Great.
I'm in a real interesting point in my life, and what you've described so far today really applies to what I've been sort of wrestling with. So a quick background. I'm 66 years old. I was laid off May 1st. We are in the process of remodeling this house of my wife's childhood here in Napa Valley. I don't know if you can see that.
Sure. Lovely.
Yeah. So for years, last 6 years I've been at this job and I've been miserable, progressively more miserable. And I look back on it and I realized that I was not doing what I wanted to be doing. I had lost my passion for what I was doing and really had for many, many years not been doing what I want to be doing. So getting laid off has been wonderful because I've had time to focus on what I want to do. I've been upgrading my recording equipment. I've written a song called The Virus of Love.
Great.
And I'm actually prepared to aggressively be in the marketplace as an artist, as a musician. I've been kicking at and poking at writing a book for years, and I'm trying to get my head wrapped around that because it keeps evolving. And the thing that I think that I want to talk about that you really started to address from the Seth books, similar to what you were saying about who you are and where you come from. Seth says, which world?
Right.
And so the thing that I notice is I'm like moving myself towards writing a manifesto of who I am. What I'm going to be up to now, how I'm going to get there. Hopefully my wife's not freaking out too much about my plans to be an artist and entrepreneur at this stage in the game when we need to have steady income and credit to fund not only the remodel of this 1935 ranch house, but also plant some vines on this property. A lot of money, a whole bunch of money. And so I notice as I think about all this that I often will, I've been seeing a little bit more and more that There's some coaches who you could regard them as they have a sort of bravado and machismo kind of approach to things. And I've been getting a lot of value out of the patented Alan Cohen focus on what's really true and matters approach.
Mhm.
And so I'm seeing that a lot of times I'm like trying to convince myself that this can work.
Mm.
And obviously there's a trust issue, and then there's the whole logic. And then there's a lot of different ways this can work. I don't know which way it's going to happen yet.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to keep this as edited and brief as possible. I think I've sort of pointed at the trust issue and the which world issue. And I noticed that I want to be more grounded in a quiet trust instead of trying to convince myself or anyone.
Right.
So, okay, it looks like what I'm saying makes sense to you, and maybe you
Well,
fix
let's
me
boil
up.
it down to a couple good angles here. Thank you. Let's boil it down to two voices, a voice of mistrust and a voice of trust. So can you bottom line what the voice of mistrust says first, Steve?
I may not be capable of this. This might not work. Are you crazy? These are harebrained ideas. How's that for starts?
Good. Got it. My wife will be all over my case if I don't bring home the bacon.
Yeah.
Okay, let me add that. Okay, thank you. What would the voice of trust or vision or confidence say in response to that?
This is what you love. Trying to hold back tears. This is who you really are. You don't need to worry about how.
Yeah.
Focus on the joy.
And which voice feels more compelling?
Voice of trust and love.
Obviously. You know, if it brought up tears, it tells me that's really connected to the core of your being. And, you know, everything you said has been pointing you in the same direction. You said, I didn't like my job anymore. I hated it. And now I'm doing things that are exciting and creative and visionary. Ooh. So you're a powerful manifester to manifest the whole pandemic so you can get into your creative spirit.
I have often thought that.
Yeah. I know a lot of people in your situation who lost their jobs or on furlough, and they're saying, wow, I can really do the things I love now. It's such an oppressive job. I didn't like commuting. I didn't like being in a toxic office. Now I can stay in my home studio and create and write. Woohoo! And of course, there's a trust factor, there's a leap of faith factor, but it sounds to me like you're spiritually mature. I like what you said about quiet trust or quiet faith. That's good. That's really good. It's different than rah, 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 let's pound faith in. It's let's drop into the place where my faith already lives.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be proven.
Your mind will never let us be self-proof. Your mind can never be proven to because it's so intellectual. It's always going back and forth between yay and nay. But there's a place inside your heart that does not require proof because it already knows what your mind is waiting to know. That makes sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's the cosmic
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because there's knowing this stuff and then there's being this stuff.
Yeah.
And trying to convince yourself is not the path.
Yeah. I'd like you to reframe that process, convincing yourself, and replace it with dropping in. Like dropping into the deep knowing. That's different than convincing yourself.
Yeah. That's good. I like that. Thank you.
Yeah. I think you're on it.
I know I am.
Yeah.
Just needed to talk about it.
Just needed to talk about it. Just wanted to hear some validation for what you already knew.
Indeed. Thank you.
So it is. Thank you, Steve. Nice to meet you. Thanks for showing up.
Same here.
Okay, let's go to Behnaz. And if you want to put your hand up to get in the queue, we will chat with you in just a moment. Behnaz. And let's put, can you put your video on, dear?
Start video. So sorry, just a second. I seem to be getting lost. Where is the video button? 2 seconds, I'll figure this out.
Why don't you just go right ahead without the video?
Okay, so sorry, Alan. Oh, there it is.
Okay.
There it is.
Hi there. And if you want to get in the queue, just put your hand up and I'll take you after Reynolds. Go right ahead, dear.
Hi, it's so great to connect again. Thank you. I was wondering if I could talk about some financial issues that I have, and I feel quite blocked. I feel very stressed out. I feel very I feel very powerless to the circumstances that I'm currently in financially. I have a lot of wealth and beautiful things that I appreciate in my life. I'm in a safe place, a beautiful house. Right now I'm with my parents, though it's been a challenge for me in the last few years to be able to move on with my life due to illness. And then the couple of years that I was ill, I wasn't able to work. And now that I want to go ahead with the plans that I had before I got really sick, I feel as though I don't quite know where to begin because it's the pandemic. I'd love to work somewhere, but then the autoimmune stuff that, that I'm told to be very careful with because I just got into remission and I have to be very diligent with the place of work. And I started my entrepreneurial work just very recently in the last year. And it's going beautifully, although it is slow. I haven't had any sources of income yet because I've been seeing clients for free for a while just to expand myself to market, to get an idea of what it's like for me to be an entrepreneur actually. So my struggles are with how can I move on with my life when I don't have that source of wealth and financial abundance, like to partake in the life coaching program that I want to be a certified life coach, or the place that I'd love to rent or own at some point, or the travels and things that I have in my mind are kind of like on hold.
Yeah. Well, it's a very common trick of the mind to say, if only I had more money, I could do what I really want to do. And usually there are many ways you could move ahead without having more money. Like, you don't really need to take my life coach training course. I'd love to have you, but at the moment you have skills and experiences. And you said that your entrepreneurial work is happening in its own way. So what if you capitalized on that and just gave 1,000% to what you're already doing and let that grow naturally and organically? Does that make sense?
Yeah, just the plans, the life coaching training, and so many other things. So I totally understand. This is in my heart, this is exactly what I want to do as well. But because a part of me kind of had that expectation that this is going to happen, and I was rooting for it, and I was planning it, and I was, just visualizing that happening. And also a part of me, to be honest, feels kind of embarrassed because if people ask me, where are you living right now? I'm a 30-year-old woman who is a house with my parents. And that's also a huge part of, I don't want people, I do care about what people think of me. That's the voice of my fear. Honestly, truthfully, I care. And yet I know that I'm very, very hardworking, and I'm a very independent person, even though I may be here. How do I explain, like, my health challenge?
Well, so what does the voice of embarrassment say?
That I'm not independent, and I'm not a strong woman, and I'm not a woman of my words. And
you should have your own place. You should be stronger. You should be more. That voice of judgment is always a finger wagging. So you should do this. You should. If you were really better, you would do this. Blah 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 blah. And it's such a stifling, painful, excruciating voice Now, regarding your living situation, what would the voice of enoughness say, or the voice of self-trust, or the voice of self-confidence?
This voice of self-confidence would say, you've gone through a lot, the life circumstances that you had, they've challenged you, but you're doing so well because you're here
Yeah.
and you've got well and you're working, even though you may not have like $1 million in your bank yet. You're enough just as you are in this moment.
Yeah, and look at that big smile that's popping on your face. Does that feel better than I'm too old to be living with my parents?
Yes, it's like a duality that exists in my life.
It's the duality of two voices that keep pulling you in different directions. The bottom line question I want you to keep coming back to is which voice feels better and which voice works.
Yes, the voice of love and compassion and self-acceptance.
Yeah,
Always the
you've been
winners.
through a lot. I know you've had your health challenges, you've had your social challenges. And so it's a blessing that you have a cocoon where you can stay without having to work hard to pay rent. I'm sure your parents love you and are supporting you. So how about milking this time as a going in time to really line up with your spirit and your vision? And then things will come around when you can move out and develop your business and come to coach training. There's a timing factor too, my dear, that just because a vision has shown up and instantly or in the timing we demand does not mean it's going to happen. You could come to coach training next year. It's just fine. It'll be there. So you're in the river of life. In the river, sometimes it flows quickly and sometimes it flows slowly. But there are blessings and miracles at each stage of the river. You know that, don't you?
So does it mean if the vision comes up, it doesn't necessarily mean that we can immediately go towards it. That means if
Yeah.
it's gradual, it's still in us.
Yeah, absolutely. Some, oak trees take, we planted papaya trees and banana trees, and they take like 9 months to grow. You get bananas and papayas in less than a year, but they have no roots, and they blow over in the wind. But you get an oak or a koa or a very strong tree, it grows much more slowly, but it's sending roots into the ground that make it virtually impermeable. So the visions that take longer to grow actually are much sturdier, more powerful once they manifest because you've sunken roots into the ground and you're drawing nourishment up on a much deeper level.
Yeah, patience. I think that is another huge piece for me to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
still and be patient because
yeah.
otherwise I want things to happen in a specific timeline.
Well, we all want it now. We all want it now, but then you just get to breathe and say, what's the blessing of where I am instead of waiting for something else to happen? And there's always a blessing right where you stand if you want to look for it. So, and if you're looking for the next blessing because you're missing the current one, then you're going to miss the current one. So, milk the blessings that you have right where you sit, and they'll expand and lead to the next blessing. Okay.
Thank you doesn't mean staying stuck. It means appreciating the now.
Yeah. You're always in complaint or appreciation, one or the other. And so the more you can move to appreciation, the less power complaint has over you. Okay.
Thank you.
Good for now. You're doing well. In Japan, people live at home until their 40s and 50s. I work, the economy is hard, and 30 is a very young age to still be living at home. So you're doing fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, dear. Good to see you.
So much, Alan. Blessings.
Okay. Thanks for chatting, everybody. The chats are really good. I don't look at them a lot, but I look at them once in a while. But thanks for all the chats you're putting up. Okay, Lisa, would you put your video on and we'll see what's going on in your world today?
Hi, Alan.
Hello, good to see you.
Good to see you. Last time I talked to you was last August on Hay House.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've been dealing with stage 4 lung cancer, metastasized for almost 4 years.
Wow.
Doing really well. And then my recent scans are showing progression.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just in a place of needing to make decisions. And I believe in complete healing, and I believe in, all natural, but of course the doctors are wanting to do chemo and radiation and things that I don't want to do. So yeah, just needing to make decisions and wanting to be as healthy and live as long as I can. And I believe in that. I believe it's possible.
Yeah. Well, you feel very vital to me. The energy is very alive and you're smiling. So there's something in you that's doing quite well.
Yeah.
What decisions do you need to make? Let's say maybe I can support you to make ones that work for you.
Well, if I'm going to go the oncology route, or if I trust that my body is healing without it. And do you know Julie Ryan?
Don't know, no.
Okay. She's Unity Online Radio, but anyway, I'm working with Julie Ryan. I'm doing a lot of things to heal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really hard for me. I don't really want to put that toxic stuff in my body.
Yeah, well, I don't blame you. I understand that. Healing it's more of a function of alignment with your belief system than cold hard facts.
Mm-hmm.
And every belief system is real and works from within it. And there are many people who've been healed by going the oncology route.
Yeah.
And there's many people who've been healed by going the holistic route. And, it's not to say one is better or works, but it's really a very personal decision. So what do you feel when you try each path on, Lisa?
Well, the oncology one scares the heck out of me.
Okay.
And I've also taken a medicine that saved my life and hadn't been able to function well for the last 2 years. But it quit working, it's progressing. So they don't have another medicine. They just are back to their toxic solutions. And I'm like, it just is so uncomfortable. I'm willing to do whatever I need to do, but
I like that you said I'm willing to do whatever I need to do, because that puts the focus on your intention more than the method.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, you could get healed and help with oncology. Lots of people do.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is, you could get healed and help through. So, you could just say, my intention is to be healed and whole, however that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I trust that I can find people in each sector that could support me if that's my choice. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you have a support system for holistic healing, friends, doctors that you can lean on and give you information and inspiration?
I do, but it's not it's like the other kind of overpowers it. It's a smaller section.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, standing up to those other people and doctors and just telling them, nope, this is not what I'm choosing, which I can do. It's just, I don't know. And I believe if I could believe 100% that I would heal. And it's just, that little part of me that was raised with the medical system that's like,
right.
I don't know.
And the truth is, you could heal without oncology and without holistic herbs. That, the Course in Miracles says it is the choice to heal that creates heal, not the method.
Okay.
Do you have a Course in Miracles in your ownership anywhere?
I do.
Okay. Go to the teacher's manual, and gosh, I forget the title of the section. It might be How Does Healing Happen? But there's a question where it says, who is the physician, who is the patient? And it says that the real physician is the mind of the patient.
Yeah.
And you could actually heal without any physician whatsoever. I'm not saying you should do that, but it's possible.
Yeah.
Okay. What if let us say this is less a decision in which method to take and more of a seminar on which intuition to trust, which voice to trust. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Because what I hear is that you prefer to go the holistic route, but
Yeah.
there's sort of this external voice that says you should do the oncology route, and that kind of intimidates you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
So you're kind of like having a seminar on which voice do I trust. Now, once again, I'm not saying you should do one way or the other. I think either way could work. What if you lightened up on the oncology piece and just reframe this as these people are trying to help me, and they're trying to help me in the way that they believe is best. They're not
Yeah.
against me. That's
Right.
what they believe, and so that's how they think they're going to deliver my healing.
Right.
And you could do that, and it could work. But I'm more
Yeah.
interested in your intention to heal than the route you take. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
What
Yeah.
would you like to do? What's the voice of fear say? Let's go back. Voice of fear. What does that say?
That I'm going to get sick again. I mean, really sick and suffer and die.
Got it. Okay.
I'm not afraid to die, but I don't want to die. I got too much to do.
Well, that's a good reason to live. And a lot of
Yeah.
people live because they decide that living is more interesting than dying.
Yeah.
It's all about intention. All about intention. So what would the voice of love or trust say?
To relax and to breathe and that I will be guided, that I can trust.
Love it.
And
Say
I'll
that
be
again.
guided.
Yeah, I
And
want
I'll
you
have
to. That's good.
presence
Say it
every step
again.
of the way.
Yeah, say it again, would you?
That I can trust, and this bird just started singing, and I can believe, and that I'll be guided,
Yeah.
and I don't have to figure it out or know it all this minute. I'll know in time.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And how does that feel?
It just feels gentle and kind and loving.
Ah. Well, gentle, kind, and loving is a very sure sign that you listen to the voice of spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's all send Lisa some love now. Would you be willing to receive a little prayer from everybody?
I would love that. Thank you.
Okay, so let's, those of you who are, even if you're watching the recording, it doesn't matter. There's no time in spirit. So let's just see Lisa as a whole. We see you as a whole, empowered person. We see you as a spiritual being. We see that the real you has never been touched by any disease. The real you, the spiritual you. We see that you have guidance, that you are a faithful woman, that you have deep trust, that you know you are guided, and that we see guidance coming to you. Whatever direction that guidance speaks to you, we see you being guided gently, easily, loving. We see like on a raft on a river, a gentle river. And that raft, that river's taking you exactly where you need to go for your highest well-being and all the people you'll touch as a result of your own healing. And those who are sending your prayers, if you want to say something in your own mind or out loud, just go right ahead without unmuting. So it is.
Thank you so much.
How does that feel?
It feels wonderful. And I'm just so appreciative of you and your daily dose of sanity throughout this whole pandemic. And thank you for who you are and what you bring. You bring peace to me.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for logging in. You look good. You don't look like a sick person. You look happy. You look smiling. Could that be a deeper level of you than the diagnosis?
Yes, for sure.
Could that be connected to the real source that you are?
Yeah.
And who's your puppy in the back of you?
That's Haniel. Her name means joy of God.
Haniel?
Haniel. She's my companion and my horses, and I partner with my horses for healing for people.
Well, you have mighty companions.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'm blessed.
Check in again, would you?
I will. Thank you,
Okay,
Alan.
thank you, Lisa. Love you.
Love you.
Okay, let's go to Sue next. I'm not sure if we've spoken to Sue yet or not. And then we'll go to Shani and Noko. Sue, would you put yourself on video, please?
There we go.
Sue.
Oh,
Hi,
sorry,
Sue.
it's dark. You can just about see me.
There
Yeah,
you are.
sorry.
Is it
A
nighttime
little
where
bit.
you are?
Yeah, I'm kind of sat on. I'll take my.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Where are you logging in from?
Yeah, I can maybe go over to the light a little bit more. Yeah, you may not see me just for a second. So the last two people that you just had on, the last lady, I've watched a video of yours on online on healing, it's
Yes.
on YouTube, and a little bit different for me, but I found it very kind of profound and true. Can't remember the name of it, but I think it's about an hour long. And I think that lady and the young woman beforehand would find that really interesting. I've had long-term health things for a lot of years and some extra ones recently. Not as high level as the last lady, but nevertheless long-term. So I think they'd find that video of yours really good. I think there was a little thing for me, maybe I'll speak about another time, why it may not have worked 100% for me, but I think it was very, very powerful. So just to say that. So
Okay.
the other thing I just wanted to ask, which is completely different. Well, sorry, there's just another thing as well, which both your words of the lady who spoke and yourself were amazing. But just another thing to say to both of them, and I'm probably saying this to myself, to be kind enough to give yourself a break.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it, isn't it? With health,
That's it.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, just be kind enough to give yourself a break.
And Sue, how could you be kinder to yourself and give yourself a break at the point you stand in your own life at the moment?
Well, I found, you know, we can all say this at different times, but I genuinely have found things very difficult over, you know, a long time. The last few months I've moved and it's been incredibly difficult in some respects. So to give myself a break, just to rest, really.
Rest.
Yeah,
Physical rest.
rest, fun, happiness, joy,
Yeah.
the light stuff of life, really.
Right.
Yeah.
So you need
Instead
to
of,
be kind to yourself, rest more, put yourself in nature, have more fun. Can
yeah,
you
I've
do
been
that?
doing that, but not enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So struggle is not required. Let it be easy.
Yeah.
Not really following that enough, but that's it really in a nutshell, isn't it? Yeah, let it be easy.
Tell me one fun or self-pampering thing you could do for yourself, Sue. What would really blow your hair back, so to speak?
Go to the beach.
Beach.
Yeah,
Very
we're
good.
quite a long way here.
What beach do you like?
I go to Devon in England. Beautiful beaches.
Okay.
That's the place I head to.
Very good.
Beautiful sand. And I think you come from New Jersey. And I didn't put two and two together because some other speakers come from New Jersey. So Jersey, I'm guessing that must be the original Jersey.
The
Yeah,
original
one of
Jersey.
the islands.
Okay. Yeah,
One of the islands, yeah.
when would be your first opportunity to go to the beach, Sue?
It's difficult because I don't really have funds at the minute to do that. But yeah, maybe in a few weeks, possibly, if I could.
Okay.
Yeah.
By August 15th?
Yeah, I guess I could. Yeah,
Okay.
actually, yeah.
Can we make a deal?
Yeah.
We're going to get your little butt to the beach by August 15th?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
that
that
would be
somehow
lovely.
the funds will show up, you'll manifest it, you'll choose it somehow? How's that sound?
Well, the other little bit I was just going to ask you, because I got carried away with listening to the last two speakers, which was poignant, obviously, was seeing quite a few of them today, signs, synchronicities in life.
Yes.
and grace and miracles that all kind of, to me, they all kind of go together. And so
Yeah.
now you're saying about how to get to the beach, maybe I can look for a few of those.
Yeah. Well, it's said that when you're clear on the what, the universe takes care of the how.
Yeah.
So my knowingness is that if you know you deserve the beach and you're willing to go and you have an intention to go, there are ways the universe can support you, and you don't have to figure it out at this moment.
Well, if I could just quickly say, the house, I'm here now for about 2 months, but there's been lots of difficulties as well. So it was miraculous that I moved and that I'm here.
Uh-huh.
But I would say also, be very clear on what you want, because I was clear on getting the house,
Yeah.
but some of the things to do with the house haven't gone quite as well.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so this was a miracle, but be clear.
Good. Well, the same source of miracles that got you the house will, if something can get you a house, they can get you the beach.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Good point. Very good point. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay, so
thanks.
send me a postcard from the beach, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
Yeah,
Okay.
just turn it off. Right.
God bless. Okay, let's go to Shani calling in from South Africa. Put your video on. Hi,
Hi,
Shani.
I'm more
Also the middle of
relaxed.
the night there. Yeah, got it.
I'm more relaxed now. I was so excited to speak to you last time, so I'm more relaxed. Well, I was listening to the other three, and my heart went out to each one of them. I felt them. I'm too empathic. I feel everything. What I wanted to say to Bainaz is that yeah, dreams are important. And the same with Sue and with Lisa. What I realized, looking after my mom, she took on diabetes as a victim, as if it was a punishment that made her stay bedridden for years. Right? She was imprisoned in her bed. And I'm borderline diabetic. I know it.
Are you
I've tested
imprisoned in your
myself.
bed at the moment too?
No, I'm
Okay.
very active. I'm overactive.
You're in bed by choice.
It's freezing cold, and it's 10:45 at night, so it's nice and relaxed to just sit here and look
Okay.
at my cell
Okay.
phone.
Well, carry on with your question. Go ahead.
Yes, what I want to say is to have the victim mentality and carry that load makes it pushes one lower.
Yeah.
And better to look at the lighter. So I don't, when people say, aren't you afraid of being a fully fledged type 1 diabetic? I say no, because I don't embrace it like that.
Right.
I don't see myself as a victim. Now, Lisa just shines. You can see just by her energy that she never carried it as a victim. She still doesn't. She just was hit with this right now, that she's got the shock. She just has to carry on with what she's doing. She beams. She's beautiful. And with Sue, I just want to say I escape with crocheting. You know what, Alan? The COVID disease virus was far away. And now in South Africa, it's very close by. It's knocking on the door. My son tomorrow is going for a COVID test because he has symptoms. He has symptoms. And I just don't accept it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't accept it. And
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's a matter of a mental not programming, just not allowing to be allowing yourself to be a victim.
Yeah.
And you've taught me that, Alan. I just wanted to say, through the months and through the years that I've been listening to you, the calm, peaceful energy that you exude and you teach us. It's amazing. And I love your philosophy, and I'm following you, and I've got you, and I know that, and I love the knowingness. That's all I wanted to
Thank
say
you.
to you.
And thank you most of all for putting the principles into action in your own life. That's your gift to me, that you're holding the space for yourself and your son, and you're refusing to be a victim. That is your gift to me and South Africa and the planet. Okay.
And thank you for just being you, Alan. You're a blessing, and I call you, like many people I've noticed in comments, they call you the rabbi. I think you the rabbi.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me tuck you in. Sleep tight. Okay. Thank you,
Love
Shannon.
to everybody. You've got an amazing group there. I love them all. Mwah.
You as well. Good night. Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. We'll go to one more Naoko in just a minute, but before we go to Naoko, get ready if you would. Some of you know Nishank, the Indian guy who helps me with the Course in Miracles. By the way, we're having our free Course in Miracles webinar today at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So if you're not in that group, you can go to my website and figure out how to log into it. But anyway, Nishank lives in Mumbai in a very large house with a family of 10 people. I think 3 or 4 generations actually live under one roof. And he told me that last week, one of the members of his family tested positive for COVID. And suddenly all the other 9 members became concerned. They all went for tests, and they all tested negative. So isn't it interesting that there's one man living in a fairly dense, condensed house, by all scientific principles, they should have contracted the disease as well, because they all touch the same place, in the same bathroom, same kitchen, same refrigerator, but they didn't. So yeah, I give lessons on parallel realities, that it's possible for a person right next to you to live in one reality, and it's possible for you right next to them to live in a reality that's entirely discontinuous with theirs. Good example, isn't it? Okay, we'll take one more. Naoko, would you like to put your video on? Hi there,
Hi.
good to see you.
Hello. So, yeah, so I wanted to talk about, I asked you about this Japanese thing before, but this has been really bugging me for a long time. So, so I had a hard time conceiving my daughter, and one of the first thing I thought when I, learned that I conceived her was, for her to be perfectly healthy. But then the next thing I thought about was, how can I raise her as like perfect bilingual? Because, the language has been my passion, and I studied, teaching Japanese as a foreign language. So I started to imagine, I could do this, I could do that. And then, I wanted to come up with like the most fun and then easiest way for her to learn Japanese to the highest level. And so I was really focusing on teaching her Japanese. Like I would, play Japanese children's song, all the time. And then I would speak nothing but Japanese. And then I would take her to many different Japanese classes, when she was young. And then at some point I thought, I could actually, I thought I knew how to do it, how to, raising children bilingual is so easy, because I was seeing good results. So I started to teach other children. And then so I want to know what went wrong, or what, because I thought my original intention was, good, that I wanted, children to learn Japanese, in a fun way, and then, to as high level as possible. But then at some point, my daughter started to rebel. She said she doesn't want to learn Japanese. It's too boring, and it's too, she has other things she wants to do. And then I started to get really upset with her. And then I was kind of forcing her to learn, and then we had multiple fights, and then I'm kind of feeling bad because here I am, I've been learning this spirituality, and I know many of us have to unlearn, what our parents or what teachers, told us or did to us. And then now I am the one, I'm kind of worried that I have done something wrong to her. And like now she's kind of not interested in doing much, of anything. I mean, she does have some interest, but I feel like I kind of, by me trying to force her to learn Japanese so hard, I feel like I damaged. And then when I couldn't keep her interest, I kind of lost interest in teaching other children, because I felt like my only qualification was that I thought I knew how to motivate her. And then when I learned that she lost her motivation, I mean, I felt like, how can I, teach other kids?
Got it. So here you wanted your daughter to learn Japanese and it backfired and she doesn't want to do it and you feel like you damaged her.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't really damage her. What if you just trusted that she was okay with or without Japanese? It's very Japanese to want to engineer your child into the course that you set for them, but it doesn't always work, does it?
No.
So what if this was a big opportunity to release her and release yourself? Can you let her live her life without learning Japanese at the moment?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. How old is she?
She's 13. She just turned 13. And
Yeah.
then so actually it was, I guess, my original, I mean, I kept lowering my goal. My original goal was, I guess, too high. I wanted her to be like, have good enough Japanese to be like a lawyer or something. Like I had really high, or people couldn't tell where she grew up, but I lowered it to a 6th grader level. And then we just a few more lessons to finish 6th grade level.
Well, people learn what they're motivated to learn and they don't learn what they're not motivated to learn.
Yeah.
And if she's not motivated to learn it, she's not going to learn it. I don't care how much you teach her, she's not going to get it. And she could wake up one day in 5 years and say, hey, I want to go to Japan, I'd like to learn it. And then she'll learn it like that. So I think this is an exercise in trust for you, to trust that she could be a beautiful young woman and grow up and have a lovely life without knowing Japanese fluently. Maybe she'll put her mind to something else that's equally productive, and something where it's really joyful to her, that has nothing to do with Japanese, but can give her a very productive, healthy, happy life. Would that be satisfying to you?
But a long time ago, I met this like 2nd generation or 3rd generation Japanese lady who was maybe in her 30s, and she was she didn't know how to speak Japanese, and she had like really a kind of inferiority complex for about her identity. So I didn't want my daughter to be like that.
Not everybody on the planet needs to know how to speak Japanese,
Yes.
including your daughter.
Yeah, I mean, she can already speak, but
yeah, she's Japanese American. I understand.
Yeah.
But you're putting a lot of pressure on her and yourself. And I'd like you to release yourself from quote damaging. You didn't damaging her. She's fine. She just didn't want to learn Japanese. You were loving her. You were trying to help her. That was your idea of a gift to her. And so let's give you credit for making a strong effort out of love. But now the river's moving in a different direction. Can you move with the river instead of trying to engineer the river to go in your direction?
And
You're free.
I'm wondering whether I'm still qualified to teach other children.
You can. Why would you not be qualified? Because she didn't learn it?
No, because I couldn't motivate, because my goal was that I wanted to teach kids in a more untraditional way, using more exciting way, and it didn't quite work out.
I would never try to motivate somebody who wasn't motivated. What I would do is I would take the kids that really want to learn and work with them, because if they're interested and excited, they're gonna have fun learning. You're gonna be a great teacher. It's gonna be a wonderful experience working with people who want to learn what you're teaching them.
Mhm.
If they don't want to learn it, it's hell.
Mhm.
So what
Yeah.
if you just said,
Yeah.
I would like to give my Japanese language skills
Mhm.
to people who are open and willing and ready to learn it.
Mhm.
And we're going to have a lot of fun, whether it's a small group or a large group. This is my chance to connect with people who match me, whose
Mhm.
energy is a match. And I'm just going to ask Spirit to send me the people who belong to me,
Mhm.
and let the other people belong where they belong.
Mhm.
Does that feel better?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're off the hook. You don't have to teach.
Yeah.
Just enjoy Japanese instead of making it this big pressure thing.
Yeah.
And then you'll heal the Japanese culture, because it's all about pressure in Japan. So you can be a spiritual healer more than a Japanese
Yeah,
teacher.
I know. I was writing an essay on like tips on raising bilingual children to local Japanese community paper. So
Yeah.
I felt like I had to maintain myself as a kind of authority for knowing that
Forget it.
tips.
Forget all the struggling you do to posture yourself and make your life, your daughter, like you should think she should be.
Okay.
Just drop that and just be a free spirit. And if you need the people who match you will show up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank
You're
you.
doing good. You're gonna do fine.
Yeah.
Your daughter will do fine. Thank you, my dear. Okay, we've had a wonderful hour today. Yes. Naoko is actually a graduate of my life coach training course. So once again, the time is coming up September 1st. Some of you, I've noticed, are already registered for it. So thank you. We're almost full. So it's a 6-month course starting September 1st. And we'll train you to be a certified professional holistic life coach. And if you like my style of coaching, we'll train you how to use those skills in your own way. I don't want carbon copies. I want you to use it in your own way. But we will give you all the skills you need to be helpful as a full-time professional coach, or part-time, or just for fun, or with your current business. It's an amazing, life-changing course. I'm looking forward to meeting those of you who already signed up. And if you're still going to sign up, I'll look forward to meeting you too. Go to my website, alancohen.com. And we will see you there. Okay, let's close with a prayer, as we always do. It's so good to be with you. Great questions today. Thank you so much. So we'll take a breath together. I choose to listen to the voice of love and trust. I'm speaking for all of us. Even while there are other voices that try to get my attention, when I drop into my heart, there are things that I know that I don't know when I stay in my head. And in my heart is all the guidance I ever need. In my heart is all the health I ever need. In my heart is right relationship. So at this point in my life, I am getting to release that old, dark, nasty voice that tries to intimidate me and make me feel small and make me guilty and make me respond out of fear. And instead, I choose the higher voice that says, I do belong to Spirit. I do come from Spirit. I do have the license of a higher order of beings. And as I drop into that deep knowingness of who I am and where I come from, the answers to all decisions make themselves clear. I can release what was, step into what is, and celebrate what could and will be. I do not walk alone. I have mighty companions. I have the God of all that is in and around me, who only loves me. And so I choose the path of the open heart, deep trust, and remembrance of who I truly am. If you care to say it with me out loud, and so it is. Okay, love you guys. Thank you so much for participating. We'll see you again next week. Aloha.